You might think that confidence is something that you're born with, or something that you just fake till you make. But at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, I learned something completely different. Something that no one teaches you in school, or in your career, or in everyday life. And it completely changed how I speak, how I walk into rooms, and how I show up as myself. Now, RADA is legendary. It's where actors like Anthony Hopkins, Alan Rickman, and Tom Hiddleston trained. But I wasn't there to become an actress. I was there for something else, a private coaching day at RADA Business, which is their executive training program. And what I learned that day is something that I wish every single person knew about confidence. Because here's the truth, it's not what you think. In this video, I want to share with you 3 things. First, the myths about confidence that we have all been taught. Second, the lesson from RADA that changed everything for me. And third, the practical tools that you can start using right away to feel more confident in your own life. Let's get started. When I was practicing medicine, confidence meant one thing. You knew the answer. You had the knowledge, the experience, the authority. And if you didn't feel confident, well, you pretended. You walked into the exam room or the operating room and you put on your professional mask. That's what a lot of us do in life, isn't it? We try to fake it till we make it. But here's the problem. Research shows that over 70% of professionals experience impostor syndrome at some point in their careers, which means even when you look confident on the outside, inside, you're doubting yourself. And you can feel that disconnect. Other people can feel it too. And then there's all the advice that we have been given. Power poses, stand tall, shoulders back, chin up, which sure, it helps. But here's the secret that nobody tells you. It doesn't solve the deeper problem. Because confidence isn't about puffing yourself up or pretending. And that's exactly what I learned when I stepped through the doors of RADA. I'll never forget walking into RADA that morning. The institution itself carries so much history. You can almost feel the energy of all the great actors who trained there. Anthony Hopkins, Alan Rickman, Tom Hiddleston, as I mentioned. And there I was walking into a private coaching session at RADA Business. Now, let me explain why I was even there. By this point, I wasn't new to entrepreneurship. I had been running my business for several years. I had been creating on YouTube for years too. But I was ready to take things to the next level. I wanted to show up on bigger stages with more authority and more gravitas. And I knew that that meant working on how I carried myself, my presence. So that's why I booked this private day. It wasn't a class full of executives. It wasn't a group workshop. It was just me and my coach. One-on-one. And I'll be honest, I was nervous. I wasn't there to perform on stage, but I still felt like I was about to be seen in a way that I hadn't been before. And right away, I realized this wasn't about acting tricks. It wasn't about projecting louder or standing taller. It was about something much deeper. How you show up in your body, in your voice, in the room. Because here's the thing, in medicine, confidence came from what I knew. At RADA, confidence came from how I was being, and that was a huge shift. The very first thing that my coach had me do was stand. That's it, just stand there. No speaking, no gestures, no performance. And let me tell you, it was uncomfortable. I'm used to filling space with words, with explanations, with expertise. But this was about being completely still and rooted. My coach had me focus on my breath, on feeling my feet grounded on the floor. And suddenly the tiniest things became magnified. Where was my attention? Was I holding tension in my shoulders? Was I darting my eyes around? It was such a simple exercise, but it stripped away everything that I normally relied on. Knowledge, words, professionalism. And what was left was just me. And here's the fascinating part. There is science behind this. Studies on mindfulness show that bringing awareness into your body, especially through breath and posture, not only reduces anxiety, but it actually increases how confident other people perceive you to be. Because when you're grounded, people feel it. At RADA, it wasn't about faking anything. It was about being fully present. One of the most powerful lessons that my coach drilled into me was this: confidence isn't about performance, it's about presence. Now, as a doctor, I knew how to perform, to walk into the exam room, chart in hand, speak with authority, deliver the facts. That's performance, and it works to a point. But what happens when you're on a stage or in a boardroom or even just in a conversation where the stakes feel high? Performance will only carry you so far because people don't actually want your mask. They want you. I remember one particular exercise where I had to stand in silence again while the coach just looked at me. And then she asked me to say one simple line, not in a dramatic way, not projecting like I thought an actor would, just speaking the line from a place of being rooted. It sounds so small, but I felt the shift immediately. The words landed differently. They carried weight, and it wasn't because I was trying harder. It was because I was more present. And get this, according to research from Harvard, mindfulness-based practices like this actually reduce anxiety and boost executive presence, which is exactly what I experienced in real time. Now, don't get me wrong, standing there doing nothing felt harder than some of the 36-hour hospital shifts that I survived during residency, but it also showed me something that I had never been taught before. True confidence comes from presence, not performance. After that day at RADA, I started noticing the difference everywhere. The next time that I walked into a room, I didn't rush to speak or fill the silence. I took a breath. I felt my feet on the floor, and instead of trying to perform confidence, I just was. And people responded differently. They leaned in. They listened. There was this subtle but undeniable shift, like the energy in the room slowed down, and I was setting the pace. Even when I sat down to film my next YouTube videos, I felt it. Before, I would get really caught in my head. How do I sound? How do I look? Am I coming across the right way? But afterwards, I started filming from a completely different place. More grounded and present and speaking as myself, not some perfect version of me. And that's when it really clicked. Before, my confidence came from preparation, from knowledge, from trying to hold everything together. After RADA, my confidence came from presence. I wasn't faking anything. I wasn't acting. I was actually more myself than ever. And the irony, I didn't walk out of RADA a Shakespearean actress. But I did walk out with a kind of confidence that I had never experienced in medicine. So now let's talk about how you can apply this. Number one, anchor in your body. Before you speak, before you walk into a room, before you turn on a camera, pause. Take one slow breath. Feel your feet pressing into the ground and let your shoulders soften. It sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful because when your body signals safety and steadiness, your mind catches up and people pick up on that. Most of us go through life with our attention darting around to our phones, to our to-do list, to what other people might be thinking. But if you can anchor for even 5 seconds, you'll feel more grounded and others will feel it too. Let's actually try it right now. Wherever you are, just pause. Put both feet flat on the ground. Take one slow inhale and then exhale. Feel the weight of your body support it. That's presence. That's confidence. Step number 2 is pause before you speak. This one feels really uncomfortable at first, but it changes everything. When someone asks you a question or when you're about to begin speaking, instead of rushing in to fill the silence, wait 1 beat longer than usual. What happens? That pause creates space. It signals authority. It tells people, I'm here, I'm not scrambling, I'm in control. In medicine, I used to fill every second with information because I thought that silence made me look unsure. But at RADA, I learned the opposite. Silence makes you magnetic. Try it the next time that you are asked something in a meeting. Just take that breath and pause and then answer. You'll notice that the room leans in. Okay, tip number 3 is to shift your focus outward. This might be the most important one. When you're focused on yourself, how do I sound? Do I look nervous? What do they think of me? You get stuck in performance mode. But when you shift your focus outward, what does this person need to hear? How can I connect? Everything changes. That shift, it takes the pressure off of you and it makes the other person feel seen. And in the end, that's what presence is about. Not proving yourself, but connecting. Now you might be thinking, okay, but do these little tweaks really matter? Well, here's the thing. These practices are small, but they stack. Imagine walking into a room, grounded in your body, not rushing, and focused on connecting instead of performing. That changes how people perceive you, and it changes how you feel about yourself. That's confidence. Not fake it till you make it confidence, not puffed up, overcompensating confidence, real, embodied, unshakable confidence. And that's the secret that RADA taught me. For me, this was one of the most surprising parts of reinventing my life. Leaving medicine wasn't just about changing careers. It was about changing how I showed up in the world. And that day at RADA gave me a completely new blueprint for confidence, one that I had never been taught in decades of school and training or professional life. So here's my invitation to you. The next time you catch yourself trying to fake confidence, stop. Instead, practice presence. Anchor, pause, and connect. And see what shifts for you, because confidence isn't a mask that you put on. It's who you are when you're fully grounded in yourself. Now, if you want a little help building some daily rituals that anchor that kind of presence into your everyday life, I've got a free resource for you. It's called The Reset. You will find the link down below, and I would love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment where you felt truly present and suddenly more confident than usual? Share it in the comments, because your story might be exactly what somebody else needs to hear today. Confidence isn't something that you're born with, and it's not something that you fake. It's something that you practice through presence. And that changes everything. If you enjoyed this video, then you are going to love the one that I have got coming up for you next on the next screen, and I will see you there. I didn't walk out of RADA a Shakespearean actress. Why did I say actress like that? Okay, wait one beat longer than usual. Usual is not a hard word to say. What happens? This. Okay, try again.